Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the book Refuge and welcome to another recommendation video. Today we are doing recommendations for royalty romances. So this one's going to be a bit of a quicker one because a lot of these are series and I'm not going to go into each individual book for the series, but I'll just tell you kind of my thoughts overall and like how I kind of would rate it and what I feel about it. But let's go ahead and dive in. I mean, royalty is something that I don't generally like seek them out, but if they happen to have other tropes within the royalty series that I like, I'm generally willing to hop into them. So the first series is one that I am currently still reading, but I've read the 3 main books in the series, and it does have a like prequel book that's part of the series as well. And that is the Royally series by Emma Chase. This includes Royally Screwed, Matched, and Endowed. And then I believe there is, I can't remember what the prequel is called now, but it's about like the grandparents of these people and like how they met in the past. So I rated these all very highly. They were 4.5 or 5 stars because they just didn't have, like the first one in the series definitely has kind of the typical drama you see in a royalty romance. Like it's a prince and a pauper basically, or a prince and a poor American girl, and it has the normal pitfalls you would have if a crown prince was trying to marry a American citizen. And I just really enjoyed it. But the second one is kind of a royal bachelor situation. And then the third one is actually about the sister of the American and a bodyguard for the prince, which I really enjoyed. So there's technically nobody like royal in that one, but I really enjoyed it. And then, like I said, the fourth one, which I haven't read yet, but I will, is about the grandmother who's actually the current queen when we're reading the series. And it's about when she becomes queen and gets married herself. So I don't totally love when you're reading series where someone's dead already. But I've also heard such great things about their love story, and this queen is such a badass that I want to give it a try. Then there are the royal romances by Karina Halle. There's the Nordic King, the Swedish Prince, the Royal Rogue, and then there is like the Wild Heir, I think are what they're called. And now these ones I rated more around between like, well, the Nordic King is a 5 for sure. I freaking love that one. That is a age gap nanny romance, and it's a widower hero. And then like the Swedish Prince, that's okay. That one's kind of like a Cinderella situation. And then like the Wild Heir is like an arranged marriage. And then I don't remember a Royal Rogue too well. I don't remember that one's plot too much, but these ones are fun and quick. Karina Halle writes a great story. They're gonna be really heartwarming still, and they're really fun, and yeah, I really enjoy hers. Then there is Stealing Cinderella by Azabarelli. This is a dark romance. This was a part of the Twisted Fairy Tale series. This one is a prince and this girl, and he kind of kidnaps her and keeps her as his love slave for a little while. And then when she gets away and goes back to her life, he is supposed to like marry someone else, but he keeps like thinking about her, and he's going to be the king one day, so he needs to have a good political match, but he keeps being drawn to this girl that he had was very sexually excited about for a little while. But this one is definitely dark and twisted, but it was a really fun twist on a Cinderella retelling because yeah, this whole series, I wasn't a huge fan of this series as a whole, but there are a few that I really loved, and this was one of them. It was by a bunch of different authors too. Yeah. Then there's Prince of Dreams by Kleypas. This is a historical romance, and this one is about a exiled Russian prince. And so he's been living in a town like next to one of his like cousins and her husband, and he actually starts to have feelings for his cousin's new stepdaughter, who is only, well, she's about like 10 years younger than him, but they're both adults, and he's definitely seen as a bad boy. He has a lot of baggage, and he becomes obsessed with Emma, and he wants her for his own, but then he kind of ruins the situation she was going to be in because she was going to marry someone else, and he kind of cuts in the way of that and stops it. But then he also is unwilling to like fully give his heart to her because he's had it broken before. And he gets Scrooged. Like, he literally has a dream where he dreams about being a relative of his, and he lives life as his like relative in his dream, and it teaches him about love and life and stuff. It's all that jazz. It's really good. I just read this recently, and it's typical Lisa Kleypas, but it's one of her older books, and Nicholas he's a tough boy. He's a tough boy to love, but I do love him. Then there's Radiance by Grace Draven. This is a fantasy romance. This is a friends to lovers, arranged marriage, slow burn. It's these two countries that they need to have peace, and so it's humans, and then there's this race that are these gray-skinned, they have teeth, they're considered very ugly by the humans, but the humans are considered soft and squishy and ugly to them. But they happen to run into each other in the gardens before their marriage ceremony, and they're both so nice to each other. And he was like, wow, you like weren't scared of me. And she's like, well, I'm trying to get used to your people because I'm going to be marrying one of your princes. And he doesn't say anything, but he is kind of hoping that, well, I don't think they mentioned they're getting married because they don't know who it is until they meet up as they're like going to be getting married. And he's like, I'm so glad it's you. You're the only person of your race that's been like nice to me, and we're gonna do it. So they start off this marriage as friends. They agree not to consummate their marriage, at least not at this point, because they are just really working on their friendship, and they're like, we're gonna lead our countries well. We're gonna make this happen. And I just really, really loved it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of a slow burn, but what was beautiful to watch in this book is how they grow closer together, and how they become each other's confidant, and how they don't let misunderstandings get in their way. They are very like honest with each other and truthful, and so their friendship, and as it grows, is so beautiful. And when there is finally an admission of like, I don't think you're ugly anymore, in fact, I think you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and I want you. It's really good. It's good. The Shadow Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. This is actually a YA fantasy romance, but I thought I would throw it in there because I really love the heroine in this book. Tricia Levenseller writes very unique and wonderful heroines. So this one, we have a king of shadows. He has these weird shadow powers, which I don't want to explain too much because he really keeps parts of his powers a secret so that they can't be used against him. And then there is our heroine, who she is determined to kill the king and get all his power for herself. So she inserts herself into his marriage hunt and is going to try to get him to love her, because then she wants to kill him. Well, the thing is, he really likes her, and so he's like, let's fake date each other so that people stop trying to marry me. And she's like, well, I'm gonna do this because I want to be in proximity to him, but he's literally just agreed to fake date me. He's not gonna look at me as a real option. So she finds herself in a predicament. I really like this. It's a really quick read. It is pretty sexy, in my opinion, for a YA novel, because our heroine is very in control of her sexuality. Like, the book starts with her saying that she killed her last lover because he didn't treat her right, and no one will ever find the body. That's literally the beginning of her story, and I was like, wow, I really enjoyed it. Then there is A Promise of Fire by Amanda Bouchet. Actually, I have them right down there, but we're just putting up pictures today because I don't want to hold anything. This one is about this woman who has been in hiding, and she has some special powers. And then there is a prince named Griffin who was sent to find her because they need her help for something. And at the beginning of this book, he finds her and he shackles her to himself. And it's pretty awesome where it goes. So this is kind of a captor-captive, but it's still a very slow burn. And in my opinion, nothing really happens between them until we're no longer in a captor-captive situation. Like, there's a turn that happens before we get to that point. I mean, I love a captor-captive, but some people called some things in this book dubious consent, and I wouldn't agree, because when things do happen between them, number one, she's not like saying no to them, and number two, before anything really happens, they've both consented for it to happen. A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Milla Vane. This is about basically a princess of a land and a prince of a land who, she's the reason why his parents are dead, so he wants to kill her. But she's like, it's actually my father that did it, and if you marry me, we together will be the best there's ever been, and we'll take down my dad, and we'll make a new future for our people. That is just a bit too rational for Matic. So it's not going to go quite as smooth as we hope it would. But I had to throw this in here for a royalty romance, because guess what? She's the princess and he's the prince. It's just called something else, but they are. So I found a way to plug A Heart of Blood and Ashes. Come at me. Come at me. No one's coming at me. We love A Heart of Blood and Ashes. And then the last one I want to throw up, which I just read recently, and I'm very happy to be able to recommend, is King Consort by J.R. Gray. This, oh boy, this is a love story between a crown prince and a paparazzi, and it's a male-male romance. It's so good. It was so much fun. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, because I was just blown away, number one, by how our prince finds out who this person is, and then what it's like for a prince to be dating a paparazzo, and like how they do things together. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but this one was a book that I got when it was free, and it was one that I read. It was a TBR pick that I read this month even, and I just really enjoyed it. And so I was like, it's time to do royalty romance, because I have a male one to recommend. There actually are there's another series I know that has male stuff in it, and that's actually Katie Roberts' Thalanian Dynasty. I can't like pronounce it, but that actually has an MMF, and so the king of this land, he ends up having a king consort and a queen consort, and it's pretty cool. But for some reason I didn't write that one down. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but that one is royalty. So there you go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. It's time for me to make myself some din after the workday. But these are some of my favorite royalty romances for you. Make sure you give them a try. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like. I put up oddly specific book recommendations whenever I can, as well as your regular bookish content, all the fun stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!